Okay, well, apparently I'm not smart enough to figure out how to pause this so I can do something off camera and then start back on again where I left off. So there's two videos. So this will be part two. So anyway, so I just stopped and got myself coffee and my wife coffee, and she loves coffee like I do. I mean, a good cup of coffee sends us both sky high, man. I mean, it's just like we just love a good coffee. Anyway, so being able to lift and to do that in my mid 50s, and now I'm still lifting on a class. If it's on an elite level, for a guy in my mid 50s, and so I think that's pretty good. I don't take any PEDs. I don't take any Tren, and I take my normal supplements for a guy my age, and my testosterone levels are on a normal range. They're not elevated. I'm not over 600, and they're at a normal range for a male in his mid 50s. So because mine weren't, and I think I've said this in other videos, that I was on TRT, and those aren't PEDs, because I'm not doing it for performance reasons. I'm doing it for health reasons, because mine was so low. It's just like, pardon my French, the balls just turned off. Boop, hey, we're done. We've produced plenty of children, and you've been married long enough. We're shutting you off. Anyway, so that's kind of a joke, but so that's kind of where I'm at, and so I'm always kind of doing some research on this and that, blah blah blah. What works, what doesn't work. What's healthy for you, that sort of stuff. And so that's what I've been looking for, is things that are natural, that'll benefit me. You have to, doctors are great, but you got to do your own research, because, they're dealing with you and a bunch of other people, some with debilitating issues. They don't have time to sit there and go through the nitty gritty stuff with you. They just don't. And some doctors honestly just don't give a shit. Pardon my language. They don't. You come in, they give you a script for this if that bothers you, and if that works, great. If that doesn't work, they try something else, and they give you enough products to tide you over, make you feel somewhat better, and then you're not coming to them. You know what I mean? It's just, they just don't care. There's very few doctors that really do care. So that's what I wanted to touch on this morning, was my weight loss, the two supplements that I'm taking that are totally different than anything else that I've taken. I think the correlation between those two have got to be the reason why, I've lost the weight that I have, because nothing else has changed. And I document it all, my caloric intake, the whole 9 yards. The only thing I don't talk about is like how often I pee in number 2. I don't document any of that stuff. That's pretty weird, but that's it. I document the rest of the stuff, and my training is documented. So, so I know where I'm at. I've got a baseline for most everything, and then so if I change something up, I know what I've added or subtracted. And if my results are different, then that has to be it. So anyways, that's my conclusion. So, but lifting is so important. I just can't stress. I don't care how old you are. You got to do something. You don't want to be one of these feeble dudes I've seen so many times. They're at a protest at a mall. Unbeknownst to them, they find themselves in a situation where it's like, holy crap, I got to defend myself, or I need to get away, and they can't. Because it's just like they have just enough to get them up out of bed, go to the bathroom, go to the store, wipe their butt and feed themselves. Who wants to be that guy or that girl? So, it's so important that you do that, and it doesn't have to be heavy. You don't have to go for bench press, PRs. I do it because I can, because I like it, and it's a mental thing for me. And it's just like the more I can do that, the happier I feel. And I love getting my boys involved in it, and when they're home, I'll get them to spot me, and they get super stoked, and it's just motivation for them. So both my boys lift. I have one son that does jujitsu, and he's a lifter, and God forbid anybody screw that kid, because he'll fold you like a pretzel and probably break something in the process. But it's just super important, and so don't be a slacker. Don't slack off. There's a lot of wolves out there, and they will take advantage of you. Act like they're your best buddy, your homie, and then they'll stab you in the back, or knock your block off. You don't want to be that guy. Law enforcement taught me a lot. It really did, about being physically in shape. There was a police department that hired a female the other day, and I'm sorry, there's a time and place for women, but in combat, no. Out in the street in a patrol car by herself, absolutely not. She's standing there with her police chief. She has her hands kind of folded at her waist with a smile, and her arms are as big as my wrist. It's just like, what is she gonna do? Nothing. Not a doggone thing. I'll be right back, because I have to deliver this coffee to my better half. Yeah, that's fast. I don't play around, man. I get busy. So anyway, I made a post about that. It's like, they hire these scrawny Barney Fives, and these little females, because they think that diversity, equity, inclusion is the cure-all. And we can have a dialogue. Hey, dude, drop the knife. Let's have a conversation. We want to help you. We want to make it right. I want to be your buddy. I'm telling you, when you get some dude with a knife or gun, and he's hell-bent on kicking your ass, or somebody else's ass, or he's already killed somebody, he doesn't want to have a dialogue with you. Most of these criminals, they don't want to have a conversation with you. You have a lot of mentally challenged people, that are on drugs or off their medication. They could give two shits about having a conversation with you. You give them an inch, he's going to take that freaking 8-inch steak knife, and he's going to run it right through the top of your skull, or right through your neck, or into your abdomen. I'm telling you, you don't have conversations with people like that. You have a conversation with a guy in a 3-piece suit, and you pulled him over for going 20 or 45 in a 25. You can have a conversation with somebody like that sometimes. But you learn real quick in law enforcement who you can have a conversation with and who needs a knuckle sandwich, because that's the two types that you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys that's the only thing they understand is physical force, and they tried to play the bully. They tried to play Mr. Dominant, and these little scrawny females that they get in uniform do nothing but set themselves up as a target create a bigger risk for other officers and the safety for their community, because it's just like they can't defend themselves. So now you're gonna need one or two more officers to help her, and God forbid should she get injured, or she's the cause of another officer getting injured. And it's like, these stupid police chiefs, they don't think about that. Again, let me touch on the crap going on in Grand Rapids. I'm on a roll. And this was a guy that got in a fight with a habitual drunk driver, habitual criminal, and had an active warrant for domestic violence, and showed a propensity for violence. And it was totally obvious this guy was not going to comply, and he was going to fight. I'm telling you, these guys get so hyped up, so jacked up, that the fight could turn into murder like that. I mean, just that fast, because they're not going to jail. And so he was fighting over his taser only because he was able to grab his taser. Now, if it was his handgun, that was a different story. But let me tell you, that guy, his aim was to incapacitate that cop by whatever means he could get his hands on. So for that cop to discharge his weapon in the manner in which he did was the only choice he had available. And all you backseat quarterbacks who've never been in that situation could say, well, he should have done this. He should have waited for backup. Well, let me tell you, we're not obligated to wait for backup. Okay? When you're in law enforcement, you take charge immediately. You don't back up. You don't back up down the street with your gun drawn, with a guy with a knife in his hand, screaming, hey man, let's talk. No, the only talk you're going to hear is a bang bang. We're not obligated or required by law to retreat, and when you have small people, scrawny people, they're going to retreat. So what signal are you sending to everybody out there? Because everybody's got cell phones. Hey, you know what? If I'm intimidating enough, these guys will back up. They'll back off. They'll call off the car chase. They'll do this. They'll do that. If I scream out, I can't breathe. Well, they'll take me to the hospital. So I've got another, 2 hours of playtime there, and maybe I could try to escape there from the hospital. Excuse me. So they try that stuff. These idiots know the system. They know how to play you. I've been with some guys that just don't play, man. I mean, they put the law down. They lay it down heavy right off the bat. You know what they get? They get compliance immediately. Yes, sir. Yep. They might say F you, whatever. But you know what? They don't resist. They get in the back of the car, and they back there, blah, 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 running their mouth. But you know what? You run your mouth. Because guess what? We're on our way to jail. And then we're going to process you, and we're out the door. And then the judge is going to decide to do with your stupid ass. But I just went from, talking about supplements, blah, 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 right into law enforcement. But that's why I like having this conversation, because it doesn't have to necessarily be about one subject. And that's why this is great. That's why I like my format. We can talk about anything and everything. And that's usually kind of how it goes sometimes. And because that's what this is. It's not. I don't have a typed out script that I'm going to go over like some guys do. They even have teleprompters. I mean, yeah. That's just not me. Maybe someday I'll get into that, but right now I just think it's dumb, like playing golf. Dumb. But anyway, so that's, so it's so important. So, if you're in your own community and you see a bunch of female cops, have a conversation with your police chief, because you're not being represented at all. Not by a bunch of big fat butted women that have no upper body strength whatsoever, and you're going to rely on that person to save your life, or to come to your aid in a fist fight dealing with a guy that's 200 plus pounds. I'll take on a guy that's 200 plus pounds, 300 plus pounds, easy. Bring it. I could bench my body weight and then some. Almost twice my body weight. Almost 600 pounds. I'm getting there. So, your average criminal can't bench press his own weight. So, hands on, who do you think is going to win? Me. Because I don't play. At the end of the day, I'm going home. Absolutely. Something's gonna give, and it's gonna be on your end. I promise you. Been there, done that. So anyway, I got a good friend of mine. I think he watches my channel. I just love that guy to death, and he would testify. I don't play around, man. I will charge across the street like a bull in a China glass shop to get to you, and if you happen to be latched onto that person that I'm fixing to take to the ground, well, you're going too. Oh my gosh, that is such a good cup of coffee. Some of them girls they're just spot on with the coffee, and you just want to get her name, so that way you get to thank her personally, not just hey thanks, but yeah, it's just a good cup of coffee. Oh, there's a Ford tractor. There's my name on it. I'd like to have one of those someday. My word. Anyway, so back to the original topic. Supplements, weight loss, strength gains. Record your lifts, your exercises. Do it daily. Don't skip. It takes, I think I read someplace, it takes 3 weeks to develop a habit. Make yourself go lift, go to the gym, watch my video. If you need motivation, I'll make a video just for you. And we could talk about, see, there's a couple right there. This dude needs his wife to help him into the restaurant, and now he may have some serious health issues. I don't know, but I've seen that, it's just like, not just that instance where I just drove by, but, I see it all over the place, at the mall, at the store, and it's just like, guys, this huge pot bellies, arms like this big around, that just says victim all over it. And trust me, criminals will size you up when they're looking for a target, whether it's at the store, in your neighborhood, whatever. They'll case your place, they'll size you up, and because they want the weakest target they can get their hands on, because that's going to present them with the least amount of resistance. And so if you fit that bill, it's like going to prison. If you're Barney Fife and you're feminine, well, you know what's going to happen to you there. It's not going to be good, because there's going to be that guy, and he's going to seek you out, and you're going to be his new girlfriend. That's just what happens there. So, so I put it on everybody. Don't be a victim. So anyway, so that's my rant. So I don't know if I could tie in this other video. Otherwise, this will be part 2 of the first one. So anyway, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. It helps me out tremendously. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it helps with the YouTube algorithm and gets me out there more. And that's what I'm lacking is more exposure. Just need to get out there. And oh my God, that coffee is so good. Anyway, so hey, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to making the next video for those that keep returning. And if you keep returning, please subscribe. I mean, it's just a click. That's all it is, man. It's just so simple. It's just a click, and I'd appreciate it. So thanks a lot. Have a great day, and be blessed. I'm blessed to be here for sure. I hope you are as well, and we'll see you on the next video.